Okay, welcome everyone. It is Sunday, October 16th, and we're going to dive into Gene Key 32. It has so much to say to us about what's happening right now, particularly around money, finances, fears, lots of fears of failure, lots of fears around money, fears and attachments around holding on to it, fears about what's going to happen in the future, just fear. Lots of fear. Okay, let's just acknowledge there's lots of fear in this space. This particular gene key comes from the spleen. The spleen is that awareness center that deals with a lot of fear. It also deals with your immune system, and it's also your, I'm going to call it like your primordial self, your primal self. It's the self, it's the oldest awareness center. So you can see why fear is baked into the oldest awareness center, your spleen. It's this whole lymphatic knowing. I do this with like my hand because your whole body is just like gripped with fear or knows something. That's primal. That's ancient. That's how ancient peoples learned things like, oh, that saber-toothed tiger is no good, because they felt that chill in their body. Welcome, sisters. Welcome, Katie and Rhiannon and Vanessa. Really good to see you, sisters. So today we're diving into 32. We're preparing ourselves for the new moon solar eclipse. I'm like, we're already in that frequency. I was almost thinking like the new moon was happening in a couple days, only because I'm so feeling the frequency of this new moon solar eclipse. And it's in Scorpio. It's conjunct our south node. So normally these new moons are about intentions and calling things in. This new moon is about letting go. It's a very, very sharp cut of letting go. And so we get to identify what in our lives is being asked. If it's not abundantly clear, for me, it's abundantly clear. But if it's not abundantly clear, then, it's an inner inquiry about how you can get aligned with the energies of today, of this. I don't mean today, but of the next cycle. And we're in this cycle. We're going into the wormhole, starting at the end of October, and then to the next 2 weeks later until that lunar eclipse with the full moon. So it's a lot of intensity. That's an understatement. But just to name it, let me just name the context too before we dive into this topic of money and failure and fear of holding on and fear of failure and all the things that we as humans in a modern world experience. And it's growth pains, it's evolutionary growth pains. There's shadow frequency in it for sure. And that's what we get to deal with and transform. And I think part of the ninja move with the shadow is to hold it contextually in a light where we're making space for ourselves to move through it. Because have you noticed that telling yourself that you're doing the wrong thing doesn't exactly transform the thing? It just makes it bigger. So we're really here to contextualize it so that we have something for our third eye, our drishti, to be on, rather than on this myopic problem that we've invented, and our minds, we've given permission to our minds to just blow it up in many different directions. So this gene key comes from the ring of illusion, like mirage, like not true, like hijacking our attention to focus on something that keeps us actually stuck. So today we're going to feed our consciousness with something bigger. And that bigger piece is to know that you and I specifically signed up for this moment. And by moment, I mean this epoch, this age, this transition. I have to remind myself, because I've said this all the time, we need to bilocate. We're in the trench and we have to be in the trench of our life. Like, life is daily. We do things every day and we have thoughts that we get to deal with. And at the same time, we get to occupy a higher space, which the Buddhists say, maintain the view. So imagining yourself looking at it instead of becoming enrolled in the thing itself, just witness it happening, and know that you and I said yes to this. There are a lot of souls that did not say yes to this, and we did. And so we must have had lifetimes of training to bring us here to know how to midwife the change of an age. And I hold simultaneously, and this is where my definition of truth comes. Truth is a paradox. It's when you can simultaneously hold the equals and the opposites. Because if truth were just one way, then that would mean everyone else is false who's equal and opposite. And that's not true. So we can tell that when we hold paradox, we're closer to the truth than if we were positional. So the truth for me about the future is that it's our evolutionary moment, and that my bet is on evolution. And by evolution, I mean the awakening of consciousness. That's where my bet is. No gains in consciousness are lost. And it's not a given. We get to show up. We matter. We can't tune out. I mean, we can, and right, that's not what we're going to do. If you're listening to this live stream, if you're listening to this video replay, you are not going to tune out. So now we get to say to ourselves, okay, then how shall we live? What's the best way to live through the breakdown? And that is to hold a deeper context of what the breakdown is for. And we are learning how to surf, how to be on the waves of the ocean as they're crashing in. We're going to get good at surfing. If you've ever surfed or paddleboarded, you know that you don't just go out there and you become awesome. You might catch one lucky wave, and that's great, because that'd be enough to make you want to come back. The thrill of it. But truly, you get good by getting out there every day and getting smacked by the wave and learning your relationship with nature. And that is one of the cool things about surfers, is they really get that they're not in control, that there's a relationship with nature. Remember the poet and writer and filmmaker Andy Goldsworthy? He wrote, there was a documentary on, and he's an artist, and I say poet, but he's an artist. And there was a documentary called Rivers and Tides. And he was making these beautiful rock formations, and the tides would come in and wipe it out. And that was part of the impermanence, just like the Tibetan mandala that he wanted to create with the art. And also, if he felt like it was prematurely knocked down, he would say, I just clearly don't understand the waves yet. I don't understand the water yet. I don't understand the rock yet. So that gives us that artistic way of viewing the elements and playing with it, gives us an insight into how we can maneuver when there's massive breakdown with the environment, with the financial structures, with the healthcare system, with our bodies, whatever, with families, whatever you want to say, gender, breakdowns in old forms of seeing the world, and it's right for new forms. That's just that's Saturn Uranus in the world of astrology and the cosmos. That's like the Lord of karma, the Lord of structure, the Lord of the past, butting heads with Uranus, the great awakener, the future. And astrologers always say the future wins. So it's not pretty. So this is where we get to develop our relationship to things. We need to detox ourselves from a culture that wants everything, including our mastery, now. Well, it's not going to happen all the time now. I believe in Uranian shifts that happen now. And I also believe in building brick by brick. That's part of some of that's like the North Node in Taurus. That's my North Node. It's building it brick by brick. So we get a little bit of teaching from the world of art, and now let's bring that into the world of money. Right? I mean, I was just at a dinner party, and truly, it doesn't really matter if you have a lot of money or if you don't have a lot of money. Everyone is talking about money. I just, yesterday, I was thinking about my astrocartographer guy gave me a mantra, and I was reminded of it. And I was like, yeah, I want to play this mantra again. It's Shreem. So I go to my YouTube playlist to get Shreem, and the video has a new cover on it. And I don't even know whose playlist this is a part of, or who put it on there, but it has a new cover on it. And the cover says the mantra for business prosperity. And I'm like, wow, it's a mantra. And Kundalini yoga through Yogi Bhajan, I mean, part of his brilliance in bringing Kundalini to the West was he figured out the Western mind. Everybody wants to get something from something. So he created kriyas for prosperity. He created mantras for prosperity. Well, Gene Key 32, it's so interesting. 32, the gift frequency is not called, but it's about grafting. It's called preservation. So it's grafting the old with the new. That would be a way of grafting, for better or for worse. The people who, the Sikh tradition is appalled by that, because their use of mantra is not to get something. It's to be in the frequency of the divine. And as a result, all things are added unto you, right? That's the biblical phrase of seek thee first the kingdom of God, and all things are added to you. So it's, where is your drishti? Where is your intention? So now we're doing mantra to get more money. Right? Instead of doing mantra to be in the frequency of God. Have we not lost the plot? No wonder why we are totally fearful and scared. We have manipulated everything to be about getting something. And look, I teach how to make money, so I'm not opposed to it. I think it's a totally incredible yoga. There's nothing that's worked me harder than building a business. And there's nothing that's evolved me more of like, who do I get to be, than creating a business. And that's why I keep saying yes to it, because it forces me to reinvent my self-concept. And that's what I'm talking about. Because Gene Key 32, the shadow of it is that you get really negative and fundamentalist, or you have magical thinking. And you just think like, oh, it's all good. It's all going to work out. And yeah, it is all going to work out. And we're in the middle of the change of an age. And what does that mean? That means that there's going to be some big suffering, and it may be you, Or it may be that you have the guilt because you're witnessing all the other suffering. Whatever it is, you're going to play the game. I guarantee it, because this is the game. There's nobody who's not going to play it, right? Unless you ascend out of here. But I don't think that's our job. I think our job is to be here with a new consciousness. And I'm going to tell you, we don't have it yet. You think that we're in 5D? We're not. We're just beginning. We're just beginning. You know, Saturn's going to go into Pisces, which is natally where it sits for me. So yay, that's my Saturn return. What is that about? When Saturn, the Lord of Karma, goes into the sign, notice, for oneness and spirituality, it's like, grow up, right? Discipline. So we're gonna go there. That's on the menu for all of us. I'm loving that your comments are here. I can't wait to dive into them. Yeah, guilt, right, Michelle? I get it. I mean, yeah. There's so many themes I'm going to weave in here. All right, so we're serving up some endings right now. One of the endings could be our attachment to the outcome of things, rather than focusing our drishti on trusting the big wave of evolution and managing this mind to go there. That's what I think that we are poised to do right now. And we're not left without clues. So when we look at the US is in its Pluto return, right? Where is that? In the second house. What does the second house represent? Money, resources, territory. Okay, now this makes a lot of sense. So the United States, and therefore, let's say the world, because we are not in a vacuum. Now everything is completely intertwined. The United States is going through a death and a rebirth. Pluto is the Lord of death and rebirth. It's Kali Ma. It's that kind of energy. So, like, our financial system is getting Kali Ma'd right now. It's going through some massive pain. And what is it for? Well, again, it's for our transformation. It's for bringing in an entirely new system. And we can see some of the indicia of that system, like cryptocurrency, decentralization. There's a lot of stuff to work out. But we can see, as in anything, we can see the downsides of it, like it's dirty right now. Meaning that it takes a lot of dirty energy to keep it going. So we need energy transformation. That means we need leadership that is innovative enough to stop taking money. Here we come back to money, from corruption, from the old that's trying to keep the old in place, because that's where its power lies. And believe me, the old is not stupid. They already have their tentacles in the new as well. So when we can go colonize Mars, right? But it's the same mind that's going to colonize Mars. So Mars is going to have the same problems if they end up colonizing it, which I'm completely not interested in. Mother Earth is my jam. But if they colonize it, it's going to be the same mind that exists here. So why don't we clean up our mind so that whatever currency that we create next, it's imbued with values that are more sustainable. The second house is not just money, it's values. Values underpins money. If you look at the deck of cards, the diamond, it's about money, but what's underneath that? It's values. So let's go back to our values. What do we value? One of the other keys, the other indicia that we can read from the future or from what's happening in this collective meltdown and rebirth is going to be community. The gene key says that your fear of failure is linked to your isolation. And so we have people in mansions that are living in, 10,000 square feet with 2 people in them. And that, I mean, I've been inside of them. And honestly, what I noticed when I went to visit a friend, they had a very big, like almost lodge type dwelling. And all they wanted to do was go out to eat. They had like this gourmet kitchen and all the things, really high ceilings. And what I noticed from that was that I didn't feel good in there either. Everything was so damn big and spacious that I felt lost. It's like when you crate train your dog, the crate can't be too small, but it also can't be too big. There's a particular size that makes that being feel safe. That's the same way with our bodies. Too big and we don't feel safe, and all we want to do is get out of that house, and we're not grounded inside of that house. So we have taken our wealth and we've put gates around ourselves. We've blocked other people out. We don't know how to talk to our neighbors. We have guns. I don't, but some do, right? And we have so much freaking space inside of our house that we're lost. So you can see what that mind has created. Well, we've got news for ourselves, and that is that going into the Aquarian age, going into this rebirth, we are going to have the opportunity to come back to community, whether we like it or not. And most of us, we don't know how to be in community. We don't know how to speak our truth. We don't know how to create win-wins. That's all a part of my leadership program that I'm envisioning now that's coming next, because I know what's going to be on our menu. I know what makes us really powerful. And what makes us really powerful isn't having power over. It's having power with ourselves. It's having skills and tools and distinctions to create in the we space. That's it. And we don't know how to do that. Clearly, right? We're in a highly polarized, highly charged political environment. And that's not going to go away quite yet. It's just not. We're in the frequency of revolution. And you and I, you listening to this, you're the one. You're the one. You're the bridge builder. You're the one who gets to keep your drishti, your third eye point on the future that we want to create while you're living here doing it. And it's messy. It's so messy, right? We don't always act with equanimity and love and compassion. We get mad at people, especially our stupid neighbors and, all the things, right? Like it's like, and I don't mean any particular neighbor. I'm just calling it like, we call it like those stupid neighbors or that stupid family member or whatever. And we notice that we too are playing in that shadow, and that's okay because we're a part of this change. We're not exempt. We didn't come here enlightened to like, oh, follow me, lead the way. No, we came here to get into the trenches with other people and really be committed to figuring out a new way. So the secret, I wrote down, I love this because I'm totally getting into, and I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm totally getting into the programming partner. You know how I go on my gene key trends and the programming partner is like speaking to me now. So if you have your birthday now, your life work is gene key 32, and that makes you actually really good with money. You have this sense of when to invest and when to not. If you're not run by the shadow frequency and the fear of failure, you have a lot of really amazing skills around money. And you may have this in your hologenetic profile. You may know what gets to come forward in our future and what we really truly get to leave behind that no longer serves us. So the programming partner, let me look here, is 42. And 42 is talking about someday I'll be rich. Someday I'll have all the things I need. Someday I'll have the partner. Someday I'll have the grandkids. Someday I'll feel secure. Someday we'll travel. It's the illusion, the magical thinking of someday. And I'm just talking about the shadow frequency of this thinking. It's waiting for someday to have the thing that you want to have. What we get to, this is like the third distinction, and wrapping up with the threes. The third distinction is that life is actually now. Life is now. Life is not someday. So what does that actually mean if you are feeling like you have the story running? Of course, because we all do. We all are in this frequency of failure. We're all in this frequency of feeling like there's something we need that we don't have. This gene key, the evolution, the thing that pushes this gene key is to say, no, life is now. Give yourself now the things that you're actually wanting then. So this is a ninja trick that you'll find in the people who teach manifesting, who are actually really good at it. They teach this very thing, and that is to give it to yourself now. So if you had fill in the blank, what would that give you? So we're all looking for an experience. We're all looking to feel something. So if I had X, I would get Y. So your job is to look to Y and give yourself the Y. And then the gene key tells us, this programming partner that's pushing on the money, is take action. So yesterday I was getting adjusted, and my friend was talking about this vision. She's been relentless about this vision. She wants to buy this camper van thing, and she's relentless about it. And I'm really like, she's taking action. She did the things, right? And I love to use her as an example, because I learned so much from other people. It's harder for me to see my own stuff, but when I'm watching someone else, it's so beautiful. And she has taken action. Like, she even gave notice on her place, even though that she didn't have the thing. So in some circles of manifestation, wow, that's really cutting edge. Like, you're totally living that truth. And it didn't manifest. And then she went to go get the loan, and they were like, no, you need X% down. And she didn't have it. So she could say, like, manifesting just doesn't work, right? But she didn't do that. Thankfully, she's riding this really beautiful edge. But when we were kind of deconstructing it, I said, we're going into into a new moon eclipse, and it's conjunct the South Node. It's having you look at your patterns and how you got to be in the situation that you are. And so the delta, like, and she's been doing it. She's been looking at her finance patterns and getting a lot of breakthroughs. But I'm like, the delta, meaning the space between where you are and where you want to go, meaning that you want to buy that thing, is a certain sum of money. And I'm like, so if I were your coach, I would say that is what you have control over. Go get that sum of money. Like, take action, go do it. The action isn't out there, go do the thing. It's not showing up. It could have showed up, but it's not showing up. So then we get to, instead of blaming the system or blaming life, we get to look at, wait, maybe I'm missing where the message is. And sometimes I always say it takes two to know one. So I'm here witnessing her journey, really like cheering her on, because she keeps following her truth. And now we come to this place and it's like, oh, I need $20,000. Okay, great. Go get it. That's what you have control over. You can now create yourself into that. She has a profession. She does amazing work. Guess where she gets to focus? Instead of focusing on finding that thing, she gets to focus on causing and creating that certain sum of money to go get the thing that she wants to have that will open up the lifestyle. So I share that because each of us, we're all trying so hard, and I'm trying hard, and I witness us trying hard. And let's let go a little bit. Like I just noticed even in my own belly, just let's let some air and space come into our bodies. Let's breathe into our belly and settle our nervous system. Yeah. And that's what we get to do around this contraction around money. And just ask, how can I give myself the very thing that I want right now? No someday. Give myself that thing right now. And what is mine to take action on? And so focus, maybe it is like that $20,000, or maybe it is just cleaning out your house because that clutter is creating clutter up here. Maybe it is looking for the new job. Maybe it is focusing on building your business instead of focusing on someone else's problem. It can show up in as many ways as there are people, but what's your way? That's what I get to leave you with today. And in the contemplation of this new moon, solar eclipse, hitting our south node, hitting the way things used to be, what did serve us, but no longer serves us, we're going to be in a massive let go moment. So while you are letting go and in that trench, I offer you the bilocation. Locate yourself also to see the big picture, to have a vision of where we're collectively going. Because someday doesn't mean a vision. A vision is distinct from having the fantasy of someday. Someday works when you have a vision. That's better said. Someday works when you have a vision that you're taking step-by-step action on. That's part of the beauty of being Homo sapiens sapiens. We have that prefrontal cortex that has the ability to plan the future. But let's not plan it at the expense of losing the present moment. Because when we can do both, when we can bilocate, be here now, give ourselves now the thing that we wanted to have, then we can also create action steps for a vision, action steps for the vision of the world. Let your vision be bigger than just you and your family. That's going to be something really important. It's not going to be me and my family, or me and my people. That's actually a low worldview. It's a fundamentalist worldview. It's what 70% of the world has right now with fundamentalist Islam, fundamentalist Judaism, fundamentalist Christianity. It's me and my people. It's ethnocentric. It's better than just me, better than me and my family, right? It's a step up, but the deeper step up is the community of all of us. How do we get to create win-wins? Start asking yourself that. How can I create a win-win? We're not good at it. We get to get good at it. So if I keep asking myself this and I keep experimenting and then I fail, like I didn't create a win-win, I learn the next time, I do it a different way, I'm now a little more skillful and savvy. I enroll other people in brainstorming. Hey, how can we create a win-win? we enter a field called don't know mind, and a third way becomes possible. So this is all a part of where I'm going with my work, because I think that's the biggest offering I can make you and others. I also see myself eventually circling back to doing some teaching on Sundays with movement. I will call it yoga, because union with the breath, union with the divine. I see myself circling back to that. I've missed it. And it's funny because all my stories about why I broke up with Kundalini yoga, I find it doesn't have any traction with anyone. Like no one's getting enrolled in my stories. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can ask myself, are you ready to let that go? Are you ready to reinvent? Are you ready to bring in something new? Are you ready to trust yourself to be the conduit for something new? So I'm excited that that gets to happen inside of the Evolving Sisters Network, when part of what's getting created, and I'm just going to seed a little bit here as we enter this new moon frequency, albeit an ass-kicking new moon. Yeah, I'm letting go of even my own personal brand, and I'm creating a structure called the Evolving Sisters Network. That is an educational and spiritual platform for women. And inside of the network, it will be membership based, and there will be the leadership program inside that, but there'll be opportunities for women like you to teach and to hold space and to facilitate circles. I just feel like my dharma is about supporting others to rise. And I saw that when I did the Divine Feminine Summits. I didn't even know until I discovered it, until I was on the mat. That's the last thing I get to say about the fear of failure. The fear of failure keeps us from being on the mat. That's why its programming partner is this someday thing. If you have a fear of failure, you're probably doing the someday. And the way to stop that is to get on the mat and do it and experience it. It's called the illusion of failure. It's really an illusion. It's not failure. It's testing. It's experimenting. If you've been in the Divine Feminine Business Mastery or in my business accelerator, you know I say this all the time. It's test, it's experiment, it's pivoting. We're just gathering data. We're doing the thing. We're giving our offerings, and we're taking in feedback, and we're pivoting and morphing. All right. I want to look at some of your comments. I can't wait to do this on YouTube as well. I think YouTube is where I want to do my platform ultimately. Rhiannon, Michelle, I love it. Okay, Katie, yes, our job is to be here with the new consciousness. Absolutely. 6 lines coming off the roof, right, Michelle? Totally. You're totally it. That's right. That's a little Gene Key human design humor. Deborah, someday never comes. It's here now. That's right. That's right. Love it. I love that you are fibering. Oh, Elena, hello, sister. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Robin and Rima says it's our time. Rima in Maui. Maybe I'll do live streams from Maui. Holy goddess. Yes. Deborah says fire. You're on fire, Robin. Yes, I am on fire. And I wasn't on fire. Here's the thing about it. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was not on fire. I have been in I've been underwater, under the clouds, like really managing my mind, because I have the death card, and I've got this South Node in Scorpio, I'm in my nodal return. I didn't even know that was a thing. It's deep, deep, deep work. And when I give, I get to be on fire. When I give, when I focus out and I stop focusing over here, the landscape changes and you guys notice it. And so that's another point. That's like the 4th point in what are the ways that we can train ourselves to be powerful in the middle of all this chaos, breakdown. The tarot, the card, the tarot, the tower of the tarot, you know, people falling out of the tower. We're going to make it through. We really are. And I believe many of us are going to see, we're going to live long enough to see it. I think we are, at least enough of it that we're going to be like, whoo, that was worth it. That was totally worth it. You guys are warrior goddesses. Don't ever forget that. I love you so much. I'm gonna pop off now. I'm excited about what's to come. Train ourselves to see, feel, and bring us and others on fire. Yes, Deborah, absolutely. Like, train ourselves. Just keep focusing out, keep giving, nourish yourself. I have massive, massive self-care practices. And that makes me able to give out. That makes my nervous system able to play lots of different octaves, let's say. Yeah, we've noticed and we're still here. I love you. I love you. All right, my sisters, it's been great to see all of you here. You're so precious to me, so beautiful to me. And you are inspiring in ways that you'll never know. You're just so deeply in my heart. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Let's go out and just create a new context, create a new world, and rock this. All right. I love you. I love you. Okay. Lots of love.